I always tell people to use tripods because it's so much nicer when you're watching something that the camera's not shaking all over. But forgot my tripod today. We're going to install this 12-foot gate, and I think it's 12 foot. I didn't even measure because on that side we're hinging it. On this side of the post here, the gate is just going to slap against it, and we have a gate latch that will let that do that. I'm going to have to fix this here, but right now I'm going to drill the holes for the bottom and the top. And since this one slips, it goes from here to here, or you can take it off and put it up higher if you like. You don't have to be exact, but you do want to be exact with the bottom off the ground here, because you don't want the gate to be hitting the ground constantly. In this one, we have a difference because it was the fence line. So this property, or this part of the fence in the pasture, is higher than this pasture. So I need to have it a little bit higher, but not too high, because then it's just going to look kind of weird. And I'm going to shave this down a little bit with the skid steer. So basically you want the bottom of the gate, get that out a little bit more, bottom of the gate to the bottom of the hinge. And that is about 5 inches. So I want to do about 7 inches, because I like to have it at least a couple inches off the ground. But when I come over here, since like I said, you can see there's a little bit of a lip there. All the grass is growing up in between the fence line and everything else, so it's higher on that side than it is over here. So I will put about maybe 6. And when you put these hinges in, since we have a stallion and he's kind of stupid, that's why I'm using an older gate, because I don't care if he messes it up, and one that's messed up anyways. But you want the hinge on the bottom to, when you set it on there, you want the pin to be sitting on it, and then up here you want the pin to go in it from the top. That way it's locked from the bottom and locked from the top, and that way he can't just push it off, because if you have both pins sitting up, then he can just nose it, kick it, whatever, and the whole gate's going to just raise up and come off. All right, let's see what we got. When you measure your gate, make sure you don't mess this part up, okay? You want to measure from the bottom of the stagnant or the welded on gate hinge, right? So that's already in there. It's going to sit on here, so you want to measure from the bottom of this, which is right here, the bottom of this, to the top. Now, if I measured right to here, I won't be able to install it, because I'm going to have the pin going up and this one is going down. Well, if this is already in the wood, how would you get that on there? So you want to make sure you move your bracket up to a good position up here, and then that way you can move this bracket down. So if I take this and put it roughly about 3 foot, so it makes it easy to measure, right? So this bracket will come up to here, get the shade right from the sun, so it'll go here. But if I bring my bracket down, then I can actually get it underneath and line it up, and then when I move this up, it can be tightened, if that makes sense. All right, let's drill the hole, and then we will put it on, and I'll show you how that makes sense. When you're putting in your hinge here, drill down far enough. I usually drill to, as far as the threads are. I never usually put them in that far. You can tell that one's got some threads sticking out. But in case you need to adjust your gate level up or down, then you want to have that room. Now, I found that just grabbing a box end wrench, and you can just spin this over pretty easy. Oop, if I don't lose track, I was trying to keep you in focus here, but that's all you got to do. Now, if you stop and the wood and the metal gets cold, then it's even harder to start again. So keep it going, keep it nice and warm, and it will actually drill in better once you've drilled. And get yourself some kind of cordless drill. It works out great. All right, next part coming up. So here's what I'm talking about. When this sits on the bottom here, then this piece, if you would have measured it when this was down, there would have been no way to get this up. But since it's up now, I can just angle that. I'm doing this by myself, so but that's all you gotta do, right? So if this was down here, you can't move this bracket down unless you really spread this apart and everything else. But just make sure you got enough room to move that bracket up. It makes life so much easier. All right, let's tighten it up and see how well she swings. And a side note before I actually tighten it up, make sure your wrench is nearby, either in your pocket, or I usually put it on top of the post so I know right where it's at and I can grab it without trying to fish around in my pocket for my wrench. So, and then they're either, most of the time they're 9/16, sometimes they're 1/2 inch. All right, let's tighten it up. All right, that's pretty easy to do even by yourself. My ground is uneven here and it's much higher on this side than it is over here, so even if I try to shut it, it's not going to shut. So I'm going to have to dig some of that hill away with a skid steer, and that way I can make sure that closes much better. That, or I just take it back off and I take that top hinge and push it in, and that will actually raise this side. So I'm going to do that just to see how many more turns I can get in there, and that way I will lift this edge up. So I moved in the top. I did not move out the bottom because there's not that much room to move, but it was stopping here. So now it's going a little bit further. So from here to here, and if I just get some of that dirt out of the way, it'll move much easier. Now it would have been much better if I had a better gate down here. This one is too big. I tried to, well, I did get it a little bit better, but it's still just too big. And remember why I said to drill in as far as the threads go? That's why. You just never know if you need to go all the way into the threads and make them all disappear or not. But pretty good. You can tell that gate has seen better days. It's not quite straight, but that's all right. It's for the stallion, and he's going to be a butthead anyways. So, and if you're wondering, it's a gypsy banner. He's down there in that first barn hiding from the sun, which I should be doing at this point. But so I just need to shovel out that a little bit, and then I can get it closed. And that chain is, remember when they used to make chains really long? Now you can barely get around these thin posts. So, way of the world. Everybody gets cheaper and cheaper. If they can save 5 chain lengths and charge you $5 more, then they're happy. Makes us mad, but hey. All right, well, thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe my channel. I do videos on anything and everything, so you just never know what you're going to see. All right, have a great day. Thanks for watching.